The WWE UFC Endeavor merger is happening next week. We got some massive updates there. We're going to talk a little bit about Triple H and Vince McMahon. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about AEW. It's all coming up right here on TAS. Okay, before we could jump into the WWE news, I want to kick things off talking about AEW and more specifically live attendance, because I think it is no secret where I stand with AEW. Them existing, them being around, them being on TV, them doing Wembley, them paying people a good amount of money. It's a really good thing for the wrestling industry. And I remember a couple years ago, I made a video on WWE attendance, and I kind of posed the question, why are people not interested in going to WWE events? And I feel like the most obvious answer was that there was a lack of interest there. And I'm not sure if that applies here. And the reason why I say I don't know if it applies here was because years ago when I made that video talking about WWE attendance, the economy was much better than what it is today. So you do got to factor in the economic state currently. But one thing that I found that was very interesting is that lately with AEW shows domestically, they aren't selling as many tickets as they were before. For example, WrestleTix put out a tweet for next week, Heritage Bank Center. It's in Cincinnati, Ohio. The current setup for the show is 3,870 tickets or seats. And so far, they've only sold 1,700 at this time. They sold actually 1,746 to be exact. The last time AEW was there, they did 4,700. 4,740 seats available. This time they're actually running less, and so far there's still an available amount of 2,124. Clearly there is some sort of concern for people buying tickets to AEW, and I really want to ask this question to you guys. Where do you think this issue lies? Now, obviously, this is a Dynamite / Rampage taping, I want to say. For sure, it's Dynamite. Obviously, because it's on Wednesday night. There's a little bit of confusion with how they're handling Rampage and Collision on certain days. But CM Punk isn't on Dynamite, and he wasn't on Dynamite. So I don't believe this is an effect caused by CM Punk leaving AEW or getting fired from AEW. But if you notice something, there seems to be this trend where AEW is struggling to sell tickets in America right now. Even Arthur Ashe, which, by the way, Arthur Ashe Grand Slam typically does extremely well for AEW. At this stage, they've only distributed 5,800 tickets, and there's over 6,300 available. And they have that set up for 12,000. If you look at this past week in Indianapolis, Indiana, they had only distributed 2,899 tickets. It didn't sell out, and that setup was only for 3,174. So 3,174 tickets. These venues obviously seat more, and AEW is not opening up tickets for whatever reason it may be. And a lot of people are kind of curious as to why this is happening. Now, keep in mind, they just did something very impressive at Wembley. Now, back in America, they are struggling to sell tickets. I don't know what it is. Is it because of storytelling? Is it because people aren't as interested in the TV product? I mean, we're looking at statistics. We're looking at like actual facts. And the reality is, it doesn't appear to me that AEW is hot, and it's just, there's something about it that seems weird, because I feel like last night's Dynamite was a great episode. I feel like they had a really good lineup that was actually advertised as well. But I think one thing that we got to consider is the economy factor. Am I overshooting it? Am I overshooting it? I feel like the economy is pretty weak right now. Would you guys agree? I mean, if you're somebody who has an AEW or WWE event coming near you, what are some of the things that factor into whether or not you're going to buy tickets? Because right now, the issue with the economy thing, WWE's tickets are much more expensive for their events, and they're selling out every single week, or near sellouts every single week. And we're not talking 2,000-3,000 seats available. We're talking 10,000 plus. So something very interesting is happening here. I want to have that conversation with you guys. I'm not panicking. I think wrestling is a lot better with AEW there and being healthy. But there is this conversation that needs to be had, because it's not like we're seeing AEW see significant growth in TV viewership or, merchandise sales or anything like that. It seems kind of weird. I want to turn our attention to Jey Uso. Guys, WWE made a promotional change, and I think this is a sign for what's to come. So prior, WWE, if you go on their website, if you go on their marketing materials and stuff like that, there was 6 people that were advertised for WWE. And typically when WWE does this, they put their top stars for advertising purposes. So previously, it was Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, Gunther, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, and Ricochet. And right now, keep in mind, Ricochet is actually involved with Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins, so I think that is still a good thing. However, WWE actually removed Ricochet and replaced him with Jey Uso. Now, a lot of people believe that WWE, by doing this, could be sending a message of how they view their roster internally for WWE Raw, and this would mean that Jey Uso is considered one of the top guys for WWE Raw. Now, from an advertising promotional standpoint, I actually do think it makes a lot of sense for Jey Uso to be on there. If you're considering the fact that Jey Uso was part of the biggest storyline in WWE history, which is the Bloodline. And what's really interesting here is on WWE Raw, with him coming to WWE Raw, there was continuity with that. Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle and people backstage, they don't mess with Jey Uso. They're not happy about Jey Uso being there. And I think that's a very, very, very good thing to do creatively, because we know that Jey Uso more than likely is going to be a top babyface on this show, but we're going to see a lot of dissension there. And I think that the continuity of that storyline actually helps create intrigue for the show. And then especially if we get Drew McIntyre, who, by the way, is not on this promotional material. Drew McIntyre made mention of Monday of, like, if Jey Uso screws up or whatever, he's going to go after the guy who's responsible, which is Cody Rhodes. And we talked about this on my SummerSlam prediction show, that Drew McIntyre would be a very good third opponent to get in Cody's way. I think the Drew McIntyre heel turn is bound to happen soon, but he's not even listed on the promotional material. Are people overthinking this, or does it make sense? I think it makes sense. Jey Uso should be on the marketing material. I feel like this guy's going to come across as a very good singles guy. And to be honest with you, the crowd loves him. Him coming through the crowd, getting everybody to do the motions with him. It just seems like it's going to work. Guys, Nick Khan in the WWE had a massive week. Obviously, Payback, massive success, all of these different things happening. Brandon Thurston has revealed that WWE all-staff message from CEO Nick Khan says that WWE and UFC's merger under TKO Group Holdings will now be completed next Tuesday, September 12th. And then WWE did issue the following press release, which is the confirmation that TKO will begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol TKO. Endeavor and WWE's merger is expected to go through next Tuesday, which is fantastic news. Very, very shocking of how fast this actually took place, because I feel like mergers take a lot longer. I don't know how that works from a back-end perspective. I've never done a company merger, so I'm not going to act like I know. But I've seen in the past, anytime that companies have done them, I saw AT&T and Warner and DirecTV and all of these different ones happen. It always seemed like they took a little bit of time. But it is interesting to me that WWE is moving this fast along. Now, the big thing, obviously, is there's going to be some massive changes happening once Endeavor takes full control of the company, because this is going to have a different leadership structure to the company and to everything else. Now, the real question is, how does this impact TV creative? Some people believe that Vince McMahon will be fully fledged creative. There is also this belief that Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, and everybody else in the company are very, very happy with where WWE is creatively, and they believe that creatively, that is the reason why WWE seems to be a hot product these days. I think there's a direct correlation. I think when you look at WWE selling tickets, making milestones, record-setting gates, all of these different things that WWE is accomplishing, I don't think that is possible without WWE having a very sound strategy creatively. So when I look at Triple H and everything that he's doing, Paul Levesque is absolutely killing it in the creative role, but there is a chance that Vince McMahon, once he's in that position of power, he can completely change everything. And that's a real scary thing, because I think right now WWE is only enjoyable based on the structure that they have. We can go back to my old videos. We could do a live stream and watch my old videos together. I think a lot of people forget how often I was critical of WWE. It got to a point in the last few years, like, I couldn't really watch WWE and enjoy WWE, which is why it was such a good thing that AEW and Impact and MLW and all these other companies exist, because I was still able to enjoy wrestling, just not WWE. So I don't want to see WWE make changes here. I don't want to see them get rid of Triple H. I don't want to see any of that. I'm very, very content with where they're at creatively. I feel like logic and continuity really matters, and I feel like they're definitely giving us some good stuff. Is it perfect? Hell no, it's not perfect, but I like where we are today with WWE than we were, let's say, 2020, right, or 2021, early 2021. So a lot of things are gonna change. We'll see what else comes out of it, but the merger is expected to end next week. I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you for watching.